Malankar. He's the founder of GameEon Studios, which is a company that works on all kinds of games. They're based in Mumbai. They work on mobile games for both Android and also iOS. But of course, the thing that you probably know GameEon Studios for most is their upcoming title, Mumbai Gullies, which has been in development now for since 2021. So it's been a couple of years. And I remember when the trailer first dropped and I got very excited about it. And I think I contributed in part to the hype around the game by making some videos about it, which I don't regret, because I think that people are still very curious. They want to see how this whole thing plays out. They want to actually get their hands on the game at some point. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the conversation, but it's great to have you here, Nikhil, on the show.
Thanks a lot, Caleb. And I think this is the very first time where we are properly interacting with each other. I remember seeing that video, and it had very good production quality, as well as your narration style was pretty good. I think you do a really good research on the topics and the speakers that you present. So happy to be a part of this and talk about the journey, etc., etc. So looking forward, yeah.
Thank you so much. So the way that this show works is that for the first half of the conversation, we'll just go through and look at what's happening in Indian tech today, just in the last 24 hours. And then during the second half of the conversation, we'll talk more about you and GameEon Studios, what you all are working on, and of course, a little bit about Mumbai Gullies as well. So the first thing, this is the thing that seemed to be the most significant. It's not exactly tech on the level that I typically cover, because I'm mainly in the world of startups and just small teams of people building cool stuff in AI, robotics, etc. But this is a very big tech update. Nizar, or maybe Nizar, I'm not sure how it's said. It's this very advanced, very expensive satellite that has actually been launched successfully. This happened yesterday. And so this is a collaborative mission between ISRO and NASA. It's one of the, like I said, one of the world's most expensive Earth imaging satellites at $1.5 billion. The satellite is capable of mapping the entire planet every 12 days, and the data is going to be publicly available for free 1 to 2 days post-observation. And sometimes potentially even earlier, like we've got this tsunami situation, which I don't know if it's dissipated or not, if that's, I think it's still relevant even now, because these waves travel around the planet through the oceans. But this would be a great opportunity, actually. I'm not sure if the satellite is up and running in like if it's actually capable of already starting its mission of capturing the Earth, images of the Earth. But if it is, that would be a great opportunity, right, to track where the waves are, how big the waves are, and if there's actually a meaningful, genuine threat of tsunamis on the coasts of countries around the world. So yeah, what has India contributed to this mission? The way I see it, like pretty much everything apart from one specific aspect. It is a collaborative mission, and I'm sure I'm probably not seeing it with the most accurate lens, being based here in India and wanting to promote ISRO and what's happening in Indian space tech. But India has contributed the satellite bus, the S-band aperture radar, and then NASA has contributed the L-band aperture radar. And so together, these two radar systems are able to capture like very accurate, very precise imagery, which is a first of its kind. And then also India is contributing the rocket itself, right? The GSLV Mark II. And the satellite itself was assembled in India, and it was launched from India. So everything, pretty much most of the stuff happened in India, which is very cool to see. But also great that India is collaborating with NASA. Did you get it? Were you aware of this, Nikhil? Did you see the launch? Were you following it, or is this kind of outside of your industry? I mean, it is outside of your industry, but I'm just curious if you were following it.
It's great to be educated about new stuff. Certainly, I was not aware of this happening. So thank you for bringing this to my attention. And I just did a quick Google search, and it brings me a lot of pride to see, our country progressing and collaborating with other nations on such, high-tech events. I would call these, like because if you remember, the moon landing was an event. right? And India is now taking part in such global events and being at the forefront of many technologies, even the Chandrayaan and whatnot. So it's great, and it's a great moment of pride. And I hope the nation is proud of what the scientists have been able to achieve with this mission.
And I think too, the one other meaningful part of this mission is that it's actually going to benefit the rest of the planet, right? Because of the images that are going to be captured and then made publicly available, this is going to be an incredible resource for everybody. So it really is, the way I see it is tech coming from India, but being built for the benefit of the entire world, which is super cool. Okay, another update here is that Infosys is hiring. So this was sort of a very interesting timing that they announced that they are going to be hiring 20,000 college graduates this year, 2025. This is coming from the CEO of the company, Salil Parekh. And they've actually already, it looks like they've already recruited over 17,000 of these freshers in the first quarter. And then they're planning to bring in about 20,000 college graduates in total this year. So my first thought here was like, this is my gut reaction, like, oh, all of those 12,000 people that got laid off from TCS or are going to be laid off by TCS can just move to Infosys. Like, awesome, right? But the reality is that Infosys is hiring freshers here, right? Whereas TCS is laying off their folks in middle and senior management. So there probably won't be a place for most of those people who are getting laid off from TCS at Infosys. But my sort of interpretation of this situation and what we might see as a trend going forward is Indian IT companies who are genuinely grappling with this new AI reality that we're living in, where AI is bringing down the cost of technology globally. And so these companies have to offer their services at a reduced price. And so they will ultimately end up having to trim the fat, probably the fat in the middle, right, at that middle and senior management level, and then bring in fresh talent who are ultimately more affordable, right? Bringing in freshers costs the company a lot less than bringing in managers. I think typically people just rise up through the company rather than bringing in managers from outside. But I think this is something that we're going to continue seeing. And also young people are they're more willing to bend over backwards, right? They're more willing to put in the long hours at a very reduced salary. I think a lot of these IT companies, when you join, right, I don't think you actually get that much money to begin with as a salary. What I've seen online, people reporting how much they earn, role at one of these IT companies. By the way, is that, I don't know what before GameEon Studios, were you out there? Were you working? Did you have a job? Or was this your sort of first thing after college?
So it's a funny timeline that I have got to experience. So I started off GameEon Studios being a college kid. I remember starting my first year of engineering and starting this company. We ran it as a hobby for about 3 years, made little to no money, and then college journey was coming to an end. So parental pressure kicked in, and we kind of dispersed as a group. So we started pursuing our own stuff. And I did get an opportunity to work under the ex-CTO of Nazara Technologies at the time, Mr. Sanjay Soni. He's joined Nazara back, but he had started a new company called Talking Pixels, and he had hired me as a tech lead. So I did get a little bit of that work experience as well. And I would recommend to almost anyone that if they want to start up, it is very important for you to learn the tricks of the trade by working somewhere else. So I would highly recommend, if someone wants to actually start up, they should go and work somewhere. So yeah, that was a little bit of my background. And then after that, I was at a crossroads on what should I do, because the job that I had got was a contract based opportunity for a year. And my contract had ended. So I was thinking, should I hop from one job to the other or come back and give it another shot? And that's what I did. And it then worked out for me. And here I am still managing my company since 2019 now. Yeah.
So then, okay, you didn't end up working in this IT industry the way that so many young Indian people do, but yeah, you heard it here first. Go and get a job before you start your company. I don't know. It depends on the person, right? How ambitious they are, the access to resources and intelligent mentors, right? And just where they are in their life. But I think I would agree with you. Get a job first, and then at the very least, the benefit of having a job first before you start up is that you will learn what you don't want to do, right? It's like if you end up working in a company like potentially one of these IT companies, right? And then you're just not enjoying it, you're not earning enough, you're not happy with the structure and hierarchy, it'll motivate you all the more to go and actually do something of your own. Another update here, this was a little bit more niche, specifically in the AI world. IndexSynth wins ACL 2025. So this is an AI paper that came out. It was actually awarded one of the outstanding papers at ACL 2025. ACL, for people who don't know, is the annual meeting of the Association of Computational Linguistics. So very niche. But the paper is titled IndexSynth, a large-scale multilingual synthetic speech data set for low-resource Indian languages. It was authored by a couple of people, but primarily Dr. Anupha Gupta, who leads SBI Lab. This is the Signal Processing and Biomedical Imaging Lab at IIT Delhi. So what was the paper about? Basically, it's honestly, I couldn't even access the paper. I was searching across the internet trying to, maybe it's not published yet, maybe it was only at ACL 2025, but it's still very cool to see a team of folks based in India actually receiving this outstanding paper award at ACL 2025. But it is important to note too that 25 other papers also won the Outstanding Paper Award. These are global teams. But still, very cool accomplishment. Not something I know too much about, but I just wanted to highlight it. Something else that I thought was interesting was this company, Kalam Labs. This actually just came on my radar this morning. They had shared this with me on X. So this is a drone manufacturing company, and they've demonstrated a stratospheric kamikaze UAV. So kamikaze drone is a drone that is a one-way drone. It's basically meant to go and just reach the target and then self-destruct, essentially. So they deployed this drone from 33,000 feet up in the sky. I think they sent it up with like a weather balloon or something. That's the same height as commercial airliners. So when you get on a flight and you're flying up in the sky, you're kind of at the same height as where this drone started its journey. And then I guess it gets deployed, right? It gets released from the balloon, and then it just travels to its target. But what was really cool about this is that it's fully autonomous. So it's not like someone is sitting there with a controller guiding the drone from that height. It knows where it needs to go, and it just does it on its own autonomously without any ground control. It has more than 100 kilometers of range, which isn't surprising to me given how high it's starting up from, right? It can kind of glide for a very long distance, and it can carry a payload of up to 1 kilogram. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Seems like more and more Indian drone startups are moving into the kamikaze space after it kind of started to, I think there was a lot of, I have the chat on for the first time here for this live stream, and I'm seeing Lazy Respawner saying hi. Hello. I've never turned on the chat before. I'm not sure if you're able to see that, Nikhil, if you have the stream open on YouTube or on X. Cool.
I posted about it on my Instagram, so my followers might have joined.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I wish we could also do these on Instagram, by the way. Unfortunately, Instagram, first of all, you have to have an account for 30 days. So we started the Runtime account, and it still hasn't been 30 days. I think you also need 1,000 followers, if I'm not wrong, in order to go live. But like, I would love to do it because then I would also collaborate with my personal account, and I think that would give these videos, these live streams, a lot more visibility. So that'll be a work in progress. But anyone who's watching this, go follow Runtime on Instagram so that we can get over that 1,000 follower hump, so that we can actually start doing these on Instagram too. Okay, another update, SPF has unveiled Build in Bharat. So this is the Startup Policy Forum. It's a new alliance that was formed. More than 50 new age companies have come together to create the Startup Policy Forum. And so this is their flagship initiative, Build in Bharat. The goal is to support India's manufacturing ecosystem specifically and encourage startups to manufacture in India. So the SPF, this is again this organization, they've facilitated the signing of an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, between Aether Energy, which is a member of SPF, and the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT. And the goal here is to provide targeted support to early stage hardware and deep tech startups. And so under this new pact with the DPIIT and Aether Energy, they're going to be collaborating on multiple initiatives. So there are going to be mentorship programs, innovation challenges, which I think a lot of folks who are watching this might be interested in taking part in. If you're building a hardware startup, improving manufacturing capability as well, manufacturing capacity, sorry, and also product development in the EV and battery tech spaces specifically. So just thought I would highlight that, and anyone who is building in hardware and maybe even specifically in batteries or EVs, it might be worth looking into and paying attention to this so that you could potentially avail some of these opportunities. Maybe I'm not sure if there will be grants, but mostly when there's innovation challenges, right, there's typically grants that come along with those. So it could be a unique opportunity, and I think not a lot of people know about this. And so if you're in the EV space or the battery space, you might be one of the first to hear about it from this live stream. Okay, so that is all of the news, and we've moved through it rather quickly. It was sort of a quiet day, Wednesday evening, and today, Thursday morning. So that's actually for the best, because now we get a chance to talk to you, Nikhil, about GameEon Studios. Like I said at the beginning of this stream, the trailer for Mumbai Gullies dropped on the 15th of January, 2021. I remember it clearly. I was super excited. To me, I thought it was right around the corner. I mean, the trailer also was very impressive, right? It felt super polished, and I'm sure you guys spent a lot of time on it. And so I remember seeing at the at the bottom left of that trailer, it said "coming soon on PC." And I am like a PC gamer myself. I also have a Nintendo Switch now, but primarily I like to play games on PC. And then recently too, about a month ago, you made a video where you kind of updated people, right? You told them what's going on with Mumbai Gullies, how are things going at GameEon Studios. I watched that video as well, and there was a couple of quotes that stood out to me. I really liked the energy that you had and the sort of commitment to the game. You said, "I'm not going to give up no matter what. Yes, we are struggling, but we are not giving up." I think that's a direct quote from the video. And so what does that look like? I mean, I think for people who might, like, let's just say you saw that trailer, 2021, you see the trailer for Mumbai Gullies, and this live stream is the first time that you're hearing anything about it since then, right? For those people, you'd be like, wait, giving up? Like, why would you even consider that in the first place? Like, what could possibly be wrong? Games take a long time to develop. You guys have been working on it. What's the problem, right? But then you had also said we are struggling. And so I'd love to know, what do those struggles look like? What are the struggles of game development that you guys in particular have faced as a small Indian game development studio based in Mumbai? It can't be easy. And so I'd love for you to just paint a picture of what it looks like to develop a game in India and why that's a difficult thing to do.
Sure. So I'll answer this question in a couple of spectrums, right? So first and foremost, when we dropped that trailer, the idea was, even I've been a PC gamer all my life. Of course, I remember playing on NES back in the day, but primarily the platform that I enjoy playing was on PC. So I always had this ambition of eventually someday making a PC game, which stems from the fact that I used to play a lot of games, and I stumbled across GTA Vice City, which inspired me heavily to make something on the city where I live in. Okay. And when we dropped that trailer, actually, the intent was very clear. We wanted to do two things. First one, we wanted to validate the idea whether something like this is even required in the market, because why spend time working on a product that is not even needed in the market? That's one. Second part is, we knew that if the idea gets validated, we had to raise some funds for the development of the game. And before this game, we were actually a completely profitable company. We we've registered. I mentioned to you that I rebooted my operations in 2019. That's wherein I also got a little bit of business sense on how to scale up the company. So I started with 3 people, including myself, in 2019. Scaled up to 8 people. In year one, we did about 20 lakhs of revenue. 5 lakhs was net profit. Although that number might be small for a lot of people, but it was good enough for me to manage a team of 3 to 8 people, right? And the year after that was 2020, which was a bonus year for us. Gaming took a huge growth in that segment in that time period. So from 20 odd lakhs, just from our revenues, we were able to scale up to 2.36 crores, and 1.76 crores of that was net profit. Now this is a moment where I realized that, I think I felt at the time that I could run this by myself, because earlier in 2013, when I had started my own company, with a bunch of my friends, there were a couple of co-founders with me, but this time around I was by myself. So this gave me a confidence that I could try to go after my dreams and try to make this dream into a reality. That's where we started brainstorming on how we should approach this. Okay. And long story short, basically that trailer went viral. It was covered by you, it was covered by a couple of influencers. Mythpat was talking about it. Carrie Minati was reacted to it in one of the videos. So it went viral and it validated the concept for us. And then we also realized that whatever revenues we had done so far, in terms of the production, just the raw production of it was going to fall short, because we were left with about 1.76 crores. I had operational costs of my existing team, and then I also had to scale up the team to accommodate the production challenges that were going to come our way, right? So at that time, I remember I had a 21 member team, and I knew that we had to scale up to a team size of 60 to 100 people to accommodate all of the workflows and whatnot. And in hindsight, I think one of the key things that I would redo, I'm not saying that I regret anything, but if I would have given a chance to relive that entire period, what I would rather do is work with external teams that are from outside of India, and then merged their expertise with the team, with a smaller team that I built from India, and get that expertise built up gradually. What we did as a team was that we started hiring people from India itself. India is a great resource pool for sure, but I think, I would also attribute it to my lack of experience in building a game of this scale. I've built mobile games, smaller scoped games, 2 to 3 months of dev time, fourth month go live in the market, and then if it doesn't work out, you work on the next game. But particularly for a game like Mumbai Gullies, it requires a longer gestation period, a huge investment, and you know nes- also the right amount of expertise and talent, because even the bigger studios fail at it. So we were just a fresh new studio on the block, particularly not having any experience building AAA or even AA titles for that matter. So if I would that's the part of the struggle actually, which not a lot of people get exposed to, and they shouldn't. I mean, they are gamers at the end of the day. I mean, as a gamer, what do I care? How does Rockstar manage the development of GTA 6? I'm just waiting for GTA 6, right? So it is fair for people's understanding and their side of frustration, because, and I'm grateful that they are waiting for the product. Even right now, almost every video that I put out, there is one comment: Mumbai Gullies kab aayega? Where is Mumbai Gullies? What happened to Mumbai Gullies, etc., etc. So it's great. I enjoy the attention that the game continues to get, even to this date. Only thing is that, there are silent struggles that we have gone through, and I think this is the first time that I might probably talk about these struggles in a constructive way, because I've done a lot of rants, a lot of podcasts wherein I was at the receiving end of the frustrations, but I think I've come to terms with it. It's okay. It's good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. It's a part and parcel of life.
I'm curious to know your thoughts on marketing and that specific aspect, right? I mean, one thing that you did say in the video was we messed up, right? I mean, that was one line that I remember very distinctly. In this month, 1 month ago, you mentioned that you guys had messed up. I personally, I kind of at first I disagreed with you. I was like, no, you're building something that you believe in, something that you were inspired to build as a founder, as a builder, as a gamer, and you're doing your level best to build that thing. Like, what have you done? How have you messed up? But then again, I went back and watched the trailer and it said coming soon. And I was like, that might have been a mess up. And then just in general, I think I was reading one of the comments on the video and they were saying that the thing that you did wrong was that you kept mentioning it, you kept telling us about it, and so we were wanting to play the game, but then it wasn't available, and that creates a lot of frustration. I think that's more of the consumer's problem rather than your problem. Like, I still think you should just keep talking about it and keep updating people on it, and maybe involve people somehow, like build a community around it. I personally would love to play it, even if it's in the most janky state imaginable, even if it's like literally just a square playing area and there's like almost nothing to do. But I just think for me personally, I would just have fun. At the end of the day, that's what gaming is all about, right? It's just about having fun. And I feel like people get all twisted up about it, right? They get so upset, and this gamer audience, consumer base is one of the most critical of any consumer bases of any industry, right? If the game gets delayed or it's not what people expected, they really get upset. But yeah, how would you have done the marketing differently if you could go back and do the whole thing again?
I think really, if I were to look at it from that perspective, I wouldn't do anything differently. The maybe like giving lesser updates, but having the trailer go out at that time was very critical for us to get started with the production, because we could bootstrap it to a certain extent, but let's say if we didn't have access to that capital, we wouldn't have been able to experiment and fail rapidly on the stuff that we would get as learnings, right? So it was very important to for the events to roll out the way they did. But yes, of course, what the one thing that in terms of the marketing, I think the job is done well. People are still talking about it, so I don't regret anything on that part. The production side of it, certainly there is a lot more improvement that we could do. And I think one of the key aspects of that was the fact that you mentioned that we did that for the initial phases, like we were pretty open about the demos. We let people see the game in its working development shape and form, and we even did showcases wherein people came out and tried the game, and after a few showcases wherein things were not going as per people's expectations, they started showcasing the game and their pages, YouTube channels and all, and started terming that this is bad, this is terrible, this is horrible, which I agree it is in development, so it will not be in the polished state. And what we also did was we only showcased like mechanical mechanics, like things that are just working fine. We fail to showcase the soul of the game, what makes the game unique, which is what I think we are going to do in the later part of the showcases that we are going to, and even the announcements that we are going to do. So right now I'm very picky on the elements that we are showing to the public. Yes, of course, there is a small part of people that are exposed to the experience right now, which is where we are getting our feedback from. But yeah, I mean, I would love to involve more and more people, because at the end of the day, I'm building this for people, and if people are not playing it, then what's the point? So yes, that is certainly on the horizon for us for the development of the game. Only thing is that I don't want learning from the past experience, people term the in development quality as the final quality, which is not the case, which is where I want to take a stand and say that whatever you guys have seen so far, like the trailer was something that is an aspirational quality for us. We are trying to match the gameplay to be on par with the trailer as much as possible, but of course, the trailer and gameplay does have some differences. In trailer, you take the creative liberty to show certain things that are probably not a part of the game per se, but they just visually look good, which is also evident with so many other trailers. Like we can see trailers for Watch Dogs and other games that have showcased certain things, and then the gameplay is slightly different. So yeah, I mean, the game itself has a very interesting core gameplay loop. The combat of it is something that we are very excited to show to the world. It is taking slightly longer than expected because we've done bunch of experiments. We've also switched between engines, engine versions and engines, and I think we as a studio are at a very good strategic advantage right now because we have the game working in both Unreal Engine and Unity Game Engine. So a lot of people, like I also mentioned in that video that we recently did a switch to Unity Game Engine. We just wanted to give it a shot because primarily the workforce expertise that I have internally is majorly on Unity Game Engine. For Unreal Engine, we kind of hired fresh new talent from the market and got them to work on the game. So that was also one of the production challenges that we faced because it's like even the smallest of features takes a couple of days or weeks to implement, test out, and see if it's properly balanced or not. And once that's done, then you have to integrate it into the larger subset of the entire project folder. Then does it perform well with the other systems? And especially when you're working with an open world title, it's a massive complicated task, right? There's optimizations in picture. There are things that break in the most funniest and unimaginable ways, which is also fun to see as a part of the development cycle. But yeah, those are a couple of issues that we've faced actually.
Well, please count me in for early, super early play testing. Even if I can't post anything about it, if it's just me privately playing the game, I would still just love it because I love jank, and the way I play games, I actually have more fun going out of bounds and breaking things than I do actually like doing the game itself, like the missions and everything. So I just love to push things to their limits and see what happens. So I'm very tolerant towards just stuff not working properly. Um, but you guys raised $1 million, right? This was or late 2024 in September specifically, which is incredible. Congratulations on that fundraise. And I'm sure that unlocked a lot of potential that previously you didn't have access to, right? Whether it's hiring people or I actually don't know any of the other costs that would have been that capital would have been useful to cover. So maybe just fill me in on, apart from hiring people. I mean, you're talking about not just building with Unity, but also potentially with Unreal. I'm sure that was part of the story of why you raised funds and to hire people who could help with that side of things. But yeah, tell me the journey after raising that capital. What did it unlock for you?
Sure. So I think the way that PR works is it tends to sensationalize and the information there's a lot of information lag that goes in the market. So while we announced that the fundraise is going to happen, like the fundraise concluded with $1 million, that $1 million didn't hit our bank account on a single day. It was a combination of multiple tranches from multiple investors. So the $1 million was a combination of us receiving $100,000 check, $200,000, some angel networks contributing $50,000, $70,000. So the money actually came at varied amounts of time. So as a studio, when we are working with such, and I would call it a tight budget primarily because $1 million looks huge on the surface level, but when that $1 million comes to you in tranches, when you're supposed to get say $100,000 in the month of January 2023, but paperwork and all of that thing pushes that amount to hit your bank account in December 2023. That's a year-long gap, and in between that, you have to manage your operations by yourself, which is what not a lot of people have realized, or rather, even I haven't talked about it in the media. But yeah, I mean, the intent was for us to get even amount of distribution of capital so that we could deploy it towards these costs that we are bearing. However, it did not really happen in that particular timeline. So that is also one of the part of the struggles, that we got the capital, but perhaps we got capital a little later than expected, which is where we also had to do a lot of balancing acts. We had to compromise on certain production aspects on whether we should do this now or push it later, which is also a huge contributor on how the entire product comes into shape. Because we were not a revenue generating company. We were mostly relying on getting funds at the right amount of time, and the existing investors that we have are super supportive. They've also helped us out in whatever shape and form they could. The only thing is that while calculating the cost for development, we didn't expect that there will be a lag in terms of us receiving the tranches, which was actually one of the greatest challenges. So the intent with raising $1 million or $1.5 million over the course of several years was to uh, deploy this capital properly, efficiently, hiring at a steady pace. But there are so many challenges. Even hiring has tons of challenges, right? I remember chasing after one talent, waiting for him to join after a 3 month notice period. And then once that person joins your team, you realize that, oh my God, their expertise does not really contribute anything to the production pipeline. So it's a huge frustrating learning curve as well, because you don't have that hindsight that if this person is going to contribute well or not, no matter how senior or mid-level resource. In fact, what I've observed is a lot of junior people have actually contributed so much more to the project than any mid or senior level person could. So yeah, I mean, it's I'm digressing from your initial question, but I think it was important to shed light on this particular situation and how it actually panned out, because people think that having $1 million is access to a lot of capital, but that broken capital, $1 million broken into multiple chunks and pieces, it's not the most comfortable situation to be in. Yeah.
Do you think that you'll end up, I don't know what the timeline is here, when you think potentially, and I don't even want to ask you to comment on when the game will actually release, because you've sort of, I think there's a lot of potential for blowback if you do that. But do you think that this 1.5 or so million that you've raised so far, is that going to be sufficient to get you to the finish line, or are you probably going to have to raise another round, seeing how things are going right now and kind of knowing where you're at in the development cycle?
So right now, what we've done is, looking at the challenges that we faced, we went out in the market and asked for help from co-development studios that are actually excited to partner on a project like this. So ideally, if that co-development studio arrangement was not in place, we would have required more capital. But right now, we're in a very fortunate space wherein we are working with a couple of studios that are based outside of India, and joining forces and team strengths with multiple studios that we are working together with. That has helped us bring down our internal costs, because now we are looking at working on the project collaboratively. We are working at pitching the game to publishers. So while the timelines certainly have been affected for sure because of all these issues that we faced, but I think from a capital perspective, we're pretty much sorted in terms of the deployment of capital required for pulling off this game. We are talks with a couple of investors and publishers to keep on raising new capital, because of course having access to more capital does help you experiment. But I think we're in a much better situation than what we were in 2023, which is where a lot of startups were also struggling in the fundraising space and all. So yeah, I mean, I think we're in a better situation right now overall.
What's the incentive for those global partners to help you out with the development of Mumbai Gullies?
So the conversations on them with them are slightly confidential right now, so I don't think I'll be able to share more details. But happy to do that one on one with you personally.
Sure, no problem. I understand. Yeah, I think probably one thing that I know you so far haven't had a hard time with marketing, but probably one of the upcoming costs as you get closer to actually being ready to start selling this game to people is promoting it, right? And sort of having a decent sized budget for marketing, and not just Indian marketing, right? But like potentially global marketing, if that's the scope. I mean, it's a PC game, right? So why not? You should be able to market it. And I think if you're that close to having the game ready, and you can sort of share it potentially with some angel investors and just raise another small round just for that marketing activity, because ultimately you will have a very meaningful return on that investment. I feel like if you do the marketing well and you promote it in the right countries, then the revenue that generates should hopefully be should help sort of propel you towards whatever the next project is, whether it's Mumbai Gullies 2 or some other ambitious game in the future.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, marketing is something that I look at. I know my position in the market, and I know my reach is primarily in India, but I also know that the Indian audience will not pay for this game. The paying market is primarily in US or Europe, which is what will actually help us generate revenue. And it's super important for us to recover the cost that we've spent as well as generate a profit. So yes, when we are closer to the launch, we will be allocating a marketing budget that can help us reach out to influencers in the Western market, and also do some PR campaigns outside of India, which will help us, tap into that global audience. Because we are also building this game by localizing it into multiple different languages as well. So we certainly want to reach to a mass market, because games like your Saints Row or your Grand Theft Auto or Mafia, or even Watch Dogs, has inherently that advantage that it does not appeal to a specific genre or a segment. It has a wider appeal. And I think one thing that our game also has is that exact factor. It has a broad market, and it would be criminal to just restrict ourselves to India, because I think there's a lot of interesting content and fun pieces that even Indians in the Western market will sit and enjoy. And I think I also understand the power that this game holds. Is that if it's executed rightly, and it is in the good quality that I'm expecting it to be, then it will also unlock a lot of potential for the city itself. It will bring in a lot of tourism. That is something that I know for sure, because it will have that huge impact, wherein people would love to just stroll around marine lines inside the game, but they would also like to see and experience it in real life. So yeah, that's something that I look at it from that grand vision.
Yeah, this is a thing. People outside of gaming probably don't realize it, but you spend so much time in the locations of the game, you become connected to those places, and oftentimes they're modeled after real world locations. So for example, my brother, after playing the Spider-Man, I think the most recent Spider-Man game, he was like, he had never been to New York. And so he just had been swinging around New York as Spider-Man, but he really wanted to go to the city as a real person in the real world. And so he went there just because of how inspired he was by Spider-Man. There's another game called Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's created by a studio, I think it's called Warhorse Studios, based in Czechia, Czech Republic. And the game is based around like Bohemia, like I guess the Middle Ages or something. And it's like, swords and shields and stuff. But most of the castles and most of the architecture in that game is actually stuff that you can still go visit to this day and see sort of a slightly rundown version of what it used to be and the way that it's portrayed in the game. And so people will book flight tickets to go to these random little hamlets and villages in Bohemia, in the middle of nowhere, really, just to see these castles and sort of relive the experience that they had while they were playing the game. So I think you're completely spot on. If you guys actually do a great job of portraying Mumbai, obviously it's not going to be at scale. It's not going to be the actual city of Mumbai, but there will probably be some sections that are very heavily modeled after the real world version. Are you guys out there right now? Are you like taking pictures of the city? Are you filming videos? Are you doing scans? Like, what is the process by which you're incorporating Mumbai into Mumbai Gullies?
So we actually did this exercise back in 2021 and 2022. We had a team scouting around the entire city of Mumbai. We've taken tons and tons of reference images, captured photos, went into the slums. In fact, one of the team members also went inside one of the jails of Mumbai, to capture the jail essence and area. So we've done that exercise, and I mean, as of now, if I were to say, the map of the game is complete 100%, at least for the first chapter of the game. So we are not working actively on the map of it. Right now, the work primarily is on the core mechanics and the mission scripting and whatnot, as well as the mocap. I had once put out a small image saying that motion capture progress is minus 25%, which is actually just at 0% because we've not started motion capture yet. But yeah, that is what is being in progress right now, to get that one piece of vertical slice ready that can be enjoyed by people. And before that, we are also wanting to unlock a few publisher conversations, because we realize that going to market by ourselves might be an uphill battle, but someone who already has access to that market and is a global publisher will be able to help us get to that stage. So that's where we are at right now.
When you say the map, are you talking about not just the 2D UI map, but the actual sort of map, the city itself, the play space that the player will be able to access? That's all more or less built out at this point?
Yeah, 100%. We have a section when we have slums area. We have a section for marine lines completely planned out, that we have already showcased a bunch of times. We have then the Gateway of India completely built out and modeled. The Taj Hotel is the crown hotel inside our games universe. Then we have a couple of mansions around. Although mansions are not seen that much in Mumbai, but we've taken some creative liberties to accommodate them into the crowded spaces. There are a bunch of electronic shops. There are a bunch of dance bars as well inside the game. What else? There is lots and lots of residential buildings that you can't enter. Uh, and then there is one area. There's a dock area as well, so there's a lot of variety inside that small map that we've built out. And this is, if I were to just tell you in terms of scale, it is from Girgaon Chapati all the way till Gateway of India. That's the area that we've covered. So relatively still a smaller part of the city, but I think we've packed in a bunch of detail in that entire map. Yeah.
Well, this is the same thing that I heard about from Kingdom Come Deliverance. So, this is very similar. There's a couple of these stories internationally of basically the first ever game studio in a given country to release a title that is, AA or AAA, like an ambitious, maybe putting A's on it is not the right word, but just like an ambitious title. So Kingdom Come Deliverance was the first game like that from Czech Republic. The Witcher 1 was the first one from Poland, right? I think it's Poland. That one was very much I would say, AA game, not a AAA. I've played with The Witcher 1 as well. Very simple game, pretty janky, but still cool, very ambitious. And so what happened with Kingdom Come Deliverance is that they had to become much more conservative with the map size. Initially, they wanted it to be like at scale or some massive amount of land in that actual part of the world. And they realized that they just weren't able to compete with the massive, heavily, I'm not even sure if they're funded, but just the massive revenue generating AAA game studios that they were trying to emulate with their game. And so they scaled it back and they wanted it to be more dense, right? And so they made sure that at any, if you're walking for 5 minutes in the game or something, multiple things will happen to you while you're doing that, versus making it very huge, making the map massive, but then having it be relatively sparse in terms of actual stuff to engage with as a player. So I think that's the right approach. Make your game dense versus massive but sparse.
Yeah. Also, there's one comment over here by Mayur Patil. He says bars are banned in Mumbai. So Mayur, the dance bars that I'm talking about, these they were banned in 2005, and our game is based in the 90s. So timeline wise, it makes sense for these bars to exist in our game. So yeah, just wanted to highlight that out.
I also love the fact that, now you are, in my mind at least, you're one of two. Mumbai Gullies is one of these games that is ambitious and people are very much looking forward to it, even if there is a little bit of frustration, but I think that's perfectly fine. You see it even in the best studios, right? Like Cyberpunk 2077, there was a lot of anger, a lot of deep frustration. now it's an incredible game because they've stuck with it for like 5 years. They've just kept on working on it, kept improving on it. But there's Mumbai Gullies, which I think represents a more modern like game, right? It's like you said in the 90s, right? Fairly recent. And then you also have Unleash the Avatar, which is sort of more of like an ancient mythic scenario. And so that would, it's closer probably to like a Souls-like, whereas what you're working on is more of a GTA-like, guns and I don't actually know what makes a GTA-like. Are you basing it around this format though, this genre of sort of being a similar to a GTA style game? You also mentioned what was the other Saints Row? I think was the other one that you mentioned, right? Is this kind of the format that you're looking at and basing it around?
So, if we were to look at it from that perspective, see, when GTA was launched, it was not just a game; it launched a genre. So, like even if you look at Watch Dogs or Saints Row or a couple of these open world games like Sleeping Dogs, the genre itself that they fall under is called GTA clones, right? So, I mean, yes, in that sense, if you were to look at it from a surface level, it is a GTA like game, because it just falls under that genre, but it does have a couple of things that differentiates it from the rest of these games. The first and foremost is naturally the fact that it is based out of India, and there's been no game in the past that has been attempted on India. There have been levels, of course. Hitman had a level on Mumbai, but and then Far Cry was based on the north side of India. But at least from the perspective of Mumbai, this is the first game. Unleash the Avatar, as you rightly mentioned, is falls under a completely different genre. It's more of a Souls-like game, and I think the creator Varun also clarified that their setting is in the town of Chanderi, which makes it completely different than Mumbai. So it looks like Mumbai, but it is that's where it stops. But our game is complete full blown Mumbai. There are dialogues, there is Mumbaiya slang all around. There are monuments of the city as well. We also have the aquarium. Have you been to Mumbai?
I have been a few times, but I have never been to the aquarium.
Okay, so there is the Tarapuri Wala Aquarium, which we are calling it as just the aquarium, Mumbai Aquarium actually. These are a bunch of interesting things that you can actually explore around in our game, beyond just being like GTA.
So then, I mean, you were mentioning too that you're trying to do things a little bit differently. You touched on some map elements. You touched on obviously the India focus. What are some other things that, and I don't want to get too deep into like you committing to stuff, but maybe things that are definitely going to be in the game that you're excited about that you think people will enjoy.
Combat and the weapon system that we have, we've got some very unique native weapon systems. I can confirm a couple of the weapons actually. There is your Rampuri Chaku, and there is your Desi Katta that are part of the game. Then apart from that, of course, the dialogues and the dialogue delivery that we've had for the game, that is pretty unique, and especially like the combat system. I would call it as more like a dishum kind of combat system, which is very, I wouldn't call it like Batman like, but over the top. I would call it over the top Bollywood action. That's how I would define it. Yeah.
And how far along are you in terms of the story of the game? Is that something that have you even touched on that? Have you started working on it? Is it sort of in the middle stages, or is it completely done?
Story has been completely done. In fact, it has been done since we concluded the story back in 2023, actually. So, story is locked in. Mission part is something that we iteratively worked on uh, over the course of multiple years. So, mission part is also done. Dialogue scripting is also done. So first you plan out the story, then you work on the dialogues, and then as a combination of both, you then merge them into a mission structure. So those parts are done. Even the voiceovers are done. In fact, when I posted that screenshot, people were asking how are cutscenes not done and voiceovers are done. So production pipeline works in mysterious and tricky ways. Like if you watch the production of a movie, you might not enjoy the final experience as such. So games are also like that. Production happens in bits and pieces, parts and puzzles here and there. So yeah, those are the aspects that are pretty much done. Only the motion capture and bringing this all together, that is something that's left.
I also wanted to know, I mean, so we talked about the funding, we talked about how it's now, I think now you've gotten everything, or there's still a few tranches that you're waiting for?
So from the $1 million, we received all the tranches. We
tranches.
are in dialogue to raise a small round for some of the other aspects. But I think we've also, looking back, we also started creating cash flows for the company. Uh, so now we are starting to generate revenue as well from our other efforts. Because it was a very dangerous situation to be in, to just keep on relying on investor capital, especially when I look at it as a venture that I want to run for the next 100 odd years, or 1,000 years, whatever. So I wanted to make sure that the company itself is self-sustaining, which is what it was before we raised funds. We were completely operationally profitable, running the business healthy in a healthy manner. So which is what I want to get back to right now. So yeah.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about that. So your primary source of revenue right now, is it mobile games? Am I correct, or is it your mobile games that you're publishing and monetizing, or is it that you're working as a mobile game developer for other companies?
So it's a mix of three things that we're doing right now. The first thing that we're doing is we had a portfolio of mobile games that are available on Google Play and Apple App Store, which we didn't pay attention to because we shifted our entire focus on Mumbai Gullies. Because Google has a lot of policy updates that you need to update every few months. So these games systematically, one by one, were taken down, which felt very bad. But these games we already have the source codes for. So it is just a matter of us sitting down and updating the APIs and SDKs, not particularly APIs, the SDKs, and getting them back up. So that's one thing that we are doing to generate cash flows. Second thing is we do have a small team that works on higher basis. So we take contract based projects, which is straight up cash flow. You allocate resources and you get capital against that. That's one model. And then the third part is uh, a new thing that we have started, which is an in-house publishing arm, wherein we've realized that if we can get so much attention for Mumbai Gullies with my network, because one thing I want to also highlight is that a lot of people think that I've been piggybacking on the hype around Mumbai Gullies, but it's actually the other way around. When I announced Mumbai Gullies, I was already a YouTuber with 20,000 subscribers. So that was actually one of the reasons I was able to catapult the game to such a level, because I talked about it. There were 20,000 odd people watching that announcement. That grew into a network effect and whatnot. So now we're trying to replicate that same thing for newer indie titles. I see a bunch of passionate people working on some very cool ideas. And I was like, if I can do this for Mumbai Gullies, I can get these smaller games amplified, and these games have a shorter development timeline. I don't have to worry about the development. There are developers who are dedicated enough to finish them, so I can just lend my face and network and the reach that I have and help them scale up to a level, and whatever revenue comes in, we split it basically. So these are the three main avenues of revenue generation that we are looking at right now.
Right.
Would you recommend that other founders, not just in game dev, but I think other industries as well, start their own YouTube channels? Do you think that this has been a very meaningful part of the journey for you as a founder?
Absolutely 100%, because nowadays we are in the age and time wherein almost everyone is a celebrity. uh, I remember this popular quote by Shah Rukh Khan. He said that he's the last of the stars, and when he said that, it actually instantly clicked me. It is true. I mean, now you have access to the internet, and everyone has a potential to reach 1 million people or 1 billion people, right? And back in those days before social media, Bollywood or Hollywood was the medium to reach people on the big screen. So Shah Rukh Khan is most certainly the last of the superstars, because now almost everyone has that capability to become a star. If someone's sitting inside a room in Delhi, having their fans turned off and recording 8 to 10 minute videos, can become Carrie Minati, then almost anyone has that potential. And especially with founders, I think what helped me especially was my fundraise happened so effortlessly, just because of the sheer amount of content that I already had about my own industry, which also validated to the investors that, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. He's been in the industry, he has a sizable audience, and that also brought in a confidence that tomorrow, once the game goes out, he already has a network of people that are willing and waiting to pay for the product or try the product. And that's true for any founder, for that matter. Today, Shark Tank is such a phenomenon because of that very thing. Sharks appear on the television show, and they have a massive fan following of their own. So 100%, I think every founder should have their social media channel. Every founder should talk about their product, should talk about the process, because who knows, man. I mean, I started the channel talking about game dev content. I honestly didn't think it would scale up to 100,000 subscribers. I was just doing it for the sake of putting out educational content on the areas where I personally struggled in. So yeah, everyone should have their own social media.
Yeah, it's a great example of proof of work for the investors, right? Just look at this. I've published 100 videos, 200 videos, 300 videos. Have you gotten your silver play button yet?
Yes, I have. Uh, I don't know. I'm in the middle of office home shifting right now, so I'm not know whether it is, but it's up on my social media. Yeah.
Oh, oh, sorry, I forgot to mute myself, so the audio might sound a little bit weird. But thanks so much, Nikhil, for coming on, talking about Mumbai Gullies. I beg you, as soon as it's possible for me to play the game, I don't care what state it's in, I just want to play it. And I promise I won't show anybody if that's a requirement. But but I'd love to play it. And I already got a chance to play Unleash the Avatar. So they were first, but you can still be second. And yeah, but yeah, thanks for taking the time today. It was great chatting with you, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the conversation as well.
Thanks a lot, Caleb, for inviting me on this podcast. In fact, I wanted to have this one-on-one chat because I knew the line of questioning that you do is well researched, and I thoroughly enjoy the conversation as well. And I think the advantage with Unleash the Avatar is you're based in Bangalore, they are based in Bangalore, so so that's one thing. But next time, whenever I'm in Bangalore, I will make sure that I will personally bring the demo to you on a laptop, so that we can play the game together, and yeah, we'll have a lot of fun.
Okay, looking forward to it. And for folks who are watching, you can tune in tomorrow, Friday, 11 a.m. India Standard Time for the next live stream, the next installment of Runtime. But until then, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.